Good morning, fellow anglers. It is Friday, May 7th. We're back out on Lake Natoma. This is going to be my last day of this sight fishing series out here. And we're going to wrap the day up again on the very end of this lake by the dam. I'm heading straight across to see if there are any fish that have moved up on this bank over here on this west side of the lake. Then I'm gonna head out into the backwaters over here on this side. There's some ponds back there. Talked to an angler the other day. He said he's getting blown up on a frog. I've never fished back there, so I'm just gonna do a little scouting and see if there's actually any fish back there spawning. Give you another area where you can go fish. After I go through there and see what's going on, I'm gonna come back out to the main lake, fish a couple of the same areas I had fished on day 4, because the conditions should be a little bit different today. Yesterday the wind was howling, and it's a good thing I took the day off to go mountain bike riding, because the lake, I came out here late in the evening with Trisha to do a little paddling and enjoy a cerveza, and we couldn't even get on the main lake. It was blowing so bad that it was just blowing us all over. You were having to fight the wind, so we just kind of kicked it in a cove and relaxed. So today is supposed to be much warmer. Here's the weather report. And that means the wind should be less, which it is. Yesterday was 13 miles an hour. Today's only supposed to be about 4. So I should be able to get my eyes on some more fish. Hopefully the wind stays calm up through noon. That's when I plan on getting off. So I'm almost to the bank over here. I'm gonna start looking around if I get any fish. Big ones. I don't really want to go for anything that's like a 2-pounder, since we've already caught a bunch of those. I'm looking for some bigger fish today. So let's see if I can get on some and give you some more tips. And then we'll do a wrap up at the end of this segment of all the baits we used and just kind of a generalization of how the week went. All right, chat with you soon. I finally got her. I've been working on her for like an hour. Oh, finally. And I'm backwards on my paddleboard. This isn't gonna be good. Let me turn around. Yeah, I'm backwards on the paddleboard. Uh-oh, she's going the wrong direction now. No. Don't you come up on me like last time. Don't you come up on me last time. Yep. Pretty big. This is gonna be ugly. Oh my gosh, yeah, I've been working on this one. The wind's been blowing me. I'm on the main lake, and man, what a rough day so far. It's been hours. I'm out, it's probably 12 o'clock now, so it's been 3 hours. I've been working on these fish all afternoon, different ones. She's down in the weeds. She's pretty big. She's like 4 pounds maybe. Come on. Quit trying to go in the weeds. Turn her head, get her over here. Oh, she's tired. Oh, finally. Look at that one. Whoo! That's a nice one right there. A little Kitech swim bait. Let me get a quick weight on her. I'm gonna put her back in the water. Only one camera. I'm out of batteries. Okay, I'll come back, we'll talk about it. Nice one, yeah. Whoo! Tell you what, that was a long time coming. I've been out, I got here at 8:30. It's a little after 1 o'clock. That's my first fish of the day, but I've been looking for big ones only. I spent a bunch of time in those backwaters here on Lake Natoma. I'll show you on the map. For the most part, all little fish. 1-2 pounders cruising around. There's a bunch of beds back there, a bunch of bluegill. And I did find one that was probably 5. I spent way too long on her. I worked on her for like 2 hours. She would bite something, then not bite. She would bite my swim bait and never bite anything else. Then I'd get her to bite the swim bait again, then I couldn't get her, and then she kept circling around. I was getting frustrated, hungry, and thirsty, so I had to took a timeout, basically. Give myself a timeout. Sometimes you got to do that. Sometimes you got to reset. Those fish, when you're trying to bed fish and catch them that way, they can be super frustrating. So I took a timeout, tried to get her again, nada. I had to give up. I had to go because I knew I wanted to get out here on the main lake. 2 things were happening. I'm running out of batteries. I'm on my last one right now, which is why the chestie's off. So there's no chest view of that last catch. And I'm out of water. I still got a little bit of food. I wasn't planning on staying till 1. I was just gonna stay till 12. Conditions are pretty good out here, although the wind would kind of go up and down. You know, the wind would come in, then it would die down. Wind would come in, die down. So I spent a good hour on this west bank over here just looking. I was looking for one big one. I didn't want to catch a 1-pounder. You saw me catch some little ones. I wanted to catch another big one. So I'll show you up here on the map on this bank. I see a pair. Not really anything for me to keep the paddleboard from pulling off off the water. The wind kept pushing me around basically. Decided I was gonna have to get back a little ways and I wasn't gonna be able to see them. I was trying to get a little closer so I could watch their behavior because she kept circling big circles, then she would make little circles and finally come in and start looking at my swim bait. Well, I worked on her for like an hour doing that, but I kept getting blown around and I kept having to reposition. So what I decided was I had to put the paddleboard straight into the shore and stand on it backwards. The only way I could keep it from moving around, and I had to blind cast. I started blind casting in there and she started pecking at the swim bait. She was pecking. And then, so I said, all right, I did it 3 times and she hit it 3 times in a row. So I threw the Kitech swim bait in there because earlier, I'll back up just 1 second, she did smack the Demiki stingers, but I threw it in there a couple more times so she could go after it. But every time I threw that swim bait in there, she was smacking it. She hated it. So then I threw the Kitech in there. First cast after I had gotten her hot with a swim bait and I hooked her up. I'm backwards on that paddleboard, and you know what happened after that. I'm backwards, it's pulling me out, or she's pulling me out to deeper water. I gotta turn around. I want to face the camera so you can see the fish and hear me on the microphone. So I did what I came to do today, which was find one big one, and it was at the very end of the day. So mission accomplished. I'm also scouted those backwaters for you, saved you the trouble of going back there. That's a cool place. If you want to catch bluegill, you want to catch little 1-pound bass on maybe some Senkos, you can get back there and sight fishing. There's a bunch of beds back there and you can practice your technique if you want to practice before you come out here to the big water. So I'll make a note of where I saw those bigger fish back there. They were only in one area and it happened to be, you guessed it, deeper water. So these big fish, they love deep water. Little ones don't care so much, but these big girls, they gotta be close to that deep water. So I'm gonna head in. It's been an awesome 5 days. Lots of good fish catches. I caught 2 6-pounders in my 5 outings. What we're gonna do is I'm gonna do a little wrap up off the paddleboard, talk about my rods, talk about my gear, talk about the baits and all the setups. So you can figure out what you want to bring out here, fish to your strengths. So, all right, I got like a 10-minute paddle and almost out of battery. I need some water. I'm gonna catch you on the wrap up. Talk to you then. What's up, fellow anglers? Off the water, what an awesome 5 days of fishing. I'm over here by the Rainbow Bridge. This is the north end of Lake Natoma, one of the most beautiful parts of the lake. Lots of hustle and bustle going on behind me. You'll hear some cars going over the bridge. Let's go over some of the tackle that I used while I was out there to catch all those fish on my 3-rod approach. Basically, when I approach the bed, watch the behavior, the first thing I would do was throw in this big, it's about a 5 or 6 inch swim bait. It's a kind of a carp pattern. This is by River to Sea. This is a bottom walker. It's got a big weight in it. I've cut the hook out of it because I don't want to accidentally snag those bass when I'm swimming by them or bumping the bait into them and accidentally foul hook that fish. I've got this thing rigged up on a Dobbins rod. This is my flipping stick. This is the 765 flip, and I've got 65-pound braid. I've got it on a Revo Rocket. It's a 9-to-1 retrieve speed. That means every time I do one revolution on that reel, this spool right here is going to turn 9 times. It's a high-speed reel, perfect for flipping. I get the cast out there. If I need to burn it back real quick because that female's on it and I want to get to the next bait quickly, this thing pulls up a lot of line super fast to get it back in the boat so I can make that follow-up cast to try to catch that bass. So that was the number one rod and bait that I had to try to fire those bass up if they weren't protecting their bed and they weren't aggressive enough. And once I got them to that point, or they were already at that point, I throw the drop shot in there. Now this is another Dobbins rod. This is the Fury series. This is the 703 split handle. I got a Lew's Mach, I think this is the Mach 2. Yeah, the Mach 2 speed reel on this one. I love the black and green because it matched this rod perfectly. It looked totally awesome. So 25-pound braid on this setup, and I've got a long leader on here. This is I got about 4 feet on here. Damiki Viper hook right here, no weed guard. This is a Damiki Stinger. This is the 5.5 watermelon candy. I throw a little chartreuse on the tip to make this mimic a bluegill. They like to get into the bass beds and eat the eggs, and so they're always looking to attack these and push them off the bed. So I try to make this look like a bluegill as much as I can. Got about a 10 to 12 inch leader from the hook down to a 1/4 ounce drop shot weight, and then I would just toss that in on the bed, around the bed, to try to get those bass to react to that, to see if that's something that was going to trigger the aggression. If that didn't work and they were keyed up on that swim bait, I caught I'm pretty sure, yeah, the 2 biggest ones came on this bait right here, those 2 6-pounders. This is a wacky hook with a 3/8 ounce weight on the front, little weed guard. And I've got this on a Kitech 3.8 fat. This is like a golden shiner bait or color with a little chartreuse on the end, again to mimic a bluegill. And I've got this on a Dobbins rod as well. This is the 704 split handle. It's a 704 SF. No, this is a Revo SX reel on this one. Again, 25-pound braid. This also has fluorocarbon leader on it. It's 15 pounds. Double uni knot that marries those 2 lines together. You can look up a double uni knot, how to tie it, on a bunch of different YouTube videos. I'm not going to go over that in this video. This is what I would toss in there if they weren't going to eat that drop shot and they were just keying in on that fish profile. And that was the one that caught the 2 bigger fish. I did also lose another big one on the drop shot. You saw a bunch of lost fish on there. That was, a lot of operator error going on. This is the first time I've been on a stand-up paddleboard, so there was a learning curve on that, a learning curve on filming this and getting the audio. There was a lot of things to learn. I actually had a lot of fun on it. I'm going to do it again. More videos are going to come with me on the stand-up paddleboard. I'm actually started looking to get another one that's a little more fishing friendly. That's going to be coming up later. I've given you some tips about the stand-up paddleboard. I'm going to go over in a future video on my setup on the board, what I'm looking for, what's the best way to set up your paddleboard for fishing. I've got 2 takeaways from this I wanted to talk about before I ended the video. One, in the earlier segments, I talked about how I didn't think I was going to find any fish on the main lake. Well, that turned out to be false, because I went up that whole stretch on the east side and found a bunch of beds that are right off the main lake, but it was on that big flat. And so I found them in coves and on the main lake right now. So you can kind of cruise around in those same areas and find those bass constantly moving up and down, and try to repeat what I've done out there on your own. The other thing I might have done differently is, if they were keying in on that swim bait, I would have taken that Damiki Stinger off the drop shot and thrown something like a Kitech, not the fat, but just the Swing Impact 4-inch. That's a little bit more profile like an actual fish that I was throwing in on the bed that got those fish fired up. Just something different to trigger that. I actually had that in my bag. I completely forgot all about it. So those are all the baits that I used out there. I hope you found it somewhat entertaining, educational, and you can go out there now and inspiring, so you can get out there on your own, whether it's on a kayak on the shore even, or on a stand-up paddleboard, at least until they open up these launch ramps again. You can get a regular boat out there, and inspires you to get out there and do some fishing of your own. I had a blast. It was 5 days. I'm going back out again, not on the paddleboard, with my brother on his Bass Cat on Thursday to the Delta. Haven't been out there for 9 months. We're gonna see what's going on out there, so stay tuned for that. And stay tuned for some more stand-up paddleboard videos. Like I said, I had a blast. So, I'm Aaron LeSueur. This is The Truth. Stay focused, fish hard, and I'll see you out on the water.